watching M.O.D Entertainment. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, and check out the website to get the gear. The link will be in the description.
Street life, catch me underneath that street light. It's that playground where we live and we lose lives. Street life, catch me underneath that street light. It's that playground where we live and we lose life. Street life, catch me underneath that street light. It's that playground where we live and we lose lives. Street life, catch me underneath that street light. It's that playground where we live and we lose lives. Who got a pumpers right here? It be getting fixed. They claiming G, then why they acting like a little bitch? And fuck the DMs and the IG, we be splitting wigs. We handle real, be the type where you ain't getting shit. Without recording, without bragging, never speaking it. Now tell your story, get them like your fools, be out of it. They claiming gangster, why they acting like some little kids? They want attention, is the reason why I'm cocking it. I love their smile once they
G-File.
Now, starting off right here in Chicago, we have one of the most oldest neighborhoods right here. One of the most oldest neighborhoods. This neighborhood has roots all the way since the 1930s when this neighborhood was established. You have the gaylords. Now, I know that I'm not insulting them. That's the actual name of their neighborhood. And I get it, you know, what the term means nowadays, but that term hasn't always existed. As a matter of fact, if you really break down the term, it really makes no sense, like, in the term of, like, insulting somebody, because technically it means lords of joy, of happiness. So I don't really know how that's an insult. If we really look at the, like, logic behind it. You get what I mean? Now, this neighborhood is a white gang, you know what I mean? That's located in the West Town, southern West Town, which is known as the Patch of South Lawndale, Little Village near the West is, you know, what their neighborhood, you know, where their neighborhood roams in their domain. Now, prior to the name Gaylords, they were known as the Junior Postals, and then they were changed to, you know, when they were in the 1930s, 1940s, it was the Junior Postals, and then roughly around the 1950s is when they changed the name to the Gaylords. You know what I mean? And they are People Nation, so that's who they roll under. Their colors are black, gray, green, and light blue is, you know, their colors, you know, black and green in the early 1950s when they established those colors. Any section started by Kilburn Park, you know, Gaylords wore black and light blue. Any section started by Palmer Gaylords wore black and gray, and that's pretty much how they, you know, they run their colors. Now, like I said, it's a mostly white gang, but yes, they do have other races, mostly white. You know, like, they have Italians, Polish, you know, and all of that in their group. Now, their symbol is a skull with a top hat, a cane, dice, a whiskey bottle, and a Ku Klux Klansman. You know, a swastika, the Celtic cross, and is how their neighborhood, you know, is the symbols of their neighborhood. Because yes, it is a racist gang. You know what I mean? They do not like Latinos. That's, as a matter of fact, the reason, you know, why they started and everything like that, because there was a gang that had established right there, that was a biker gang named the Outlaws, that would cause, you know, all kinds of ruckus in the neighborhood, and you know, these people didn't like them there, that these Puerto Ricans came and thinking that they could be, you know, like, trying to just, like, fuck everything up. So that's pretty much how the beef and gangbanging and all of that, it, you know, transpired. You know what I mean? They didn't want no Puerto Ricans there, and pretty much, you know, it turned into some gangbanging shit. Like I said, don't think because they're white and the name that these fools are some suckers. I mean, these guys are active, they're deep, they made the news several times. You know, here's some articles as well. They handle their business. They have homies incarcerated for some pretty big crimes. You know what I mean? So it lets you know that they be out there kicking up dust. You know what I mean? Don't just think because they're white and that's the name that these some suckers or some shit like that. You know what I mean? Like I said, you're always gonna have gangs, and they're always gonna have members that are just with the business, homie. Plain and simple, no way around it. But that's what's up with the Gaylords right here, representing for theirs and still holding it down right here in Chicago. Now here we have roughly one of the more smaller sets in this area. You know what I mean? You know, when we're talking about, like, size and numbers, you know, of the gang. It's a little bit more of this more smaller one. This one was founded in the 1970s, which is the Insane Dragons. Now, the Insane Dragons were started right here in West Town, in the West Town area on east of Humboldt Park. You know, that is where they were founded, right there on the west of Humboldt Park neighborhood, where the Sacramento on Sacramento and Walton is, you know, their home ground where they started, you know, where it all, you know, came to be. Now this neighborhood is Folk Nation, so they are Folk Nation, you know what I mean? Their colors is gray and maroon. They're mostly Latinos, so mostly Puerto Ricans is what this neighborhood has. Their symbol is a dragon, a torch, fire, and diamond. That is a symbol to their neighborhood. So that's a fire-breathing dragon with the torch on the flame on the diamond. Is how you see, you know, this neighborhood up. And like I said, it's not a neighborhood that is as large, or you hear or you see, you know, often like these like other sets around here. You know what I mean? But nonetheless, I mean, doesn't mean that these guys are, you know, are some suckers, or they don't have some members that are still, you know, willing to kick, you know, shit off. You know what I mean? Now they mainly fought with the white greaser gangs like the Chi West, Gaylords, C-Nodes, and you know other groups like that. Mostly the Chi West is like their biggest rival. The Dragons had strict rules and secrecy when it came to their you know, how their gang operates and how they do stuff and everything like that. You know what I mean? So you know, they're a little bit more of a secret group. You know what I mean? Now they have a long alliance with the Spanish Cobras, and you know, seems like, you know, it's pretty cool right there. You know, but yeah, that's what's up with the Insane Dragons right here, representing, still putting theirs on the map and holding it down for theirs. And here we have an interesting one. We have the Insane Unknowns, and I don't know why. I happen to dig that name. Hey, it's a pretty dope name, Insane's Unknown. You know what I mean? It's pretty creative. Now they were founded right there near the Logan Square, Bucktown. It's where, you know, you can find them, their territory. They are People Nation, you know what I mean? Have been around since the early 70s is when this neighborhood was established. Their colors are black and white. It's mostly a Latino gang, so mostly Puerto Ricans. Now their symbols to their gang is a shield with a shotgun and the Reaper monk, so the Grim Reaper, you know, that's with two shotguns. It's an active neighborhood that definitely be holding it down, you know what I mean? Like I said, this neighborhood, they be kicking it up, you know what I mean? Be going at it right there with the neighborhoods around there, and you know, combating with everybody, you know. Now the Insane Unknown story begins far back into it was around since the early 70s, but it has said to have roots since the 60s. But in the 60s, it wasn't like an official like gang, you know, where they were doing criminal activities, you know what I mean? So more like, I guess, like a group, and then, you know, it transitioned to a gang, you know what I mean? Now, when the Puerto Rican families started settling right there in Bucktown, in the Bucktown section on Logan Square neighborhood, you know what I mean? You know, you had the Puerto Ricans right there, but a majority of it was white, you know, it was white people right there that were not happy that these Puerto Ricans were moving in right there, and these white gangs were already established there, and you can already see where I'm going with this, you know what I mean? Start harassing, picking on them, and shit cracks off, you know what I mean? And you know, they're gonna hold down their ground and do what's necessary in order to live to see another day, and you know, therefore the Insane Unknowns were formed, and ever since then, man, they've been right here, you know, not backing down and still representing for theirs, you know what I mean? And continue to do so right there for the Insane Unknown, like I said, as a trippy name, and yeah, they'd be right there holding it down. Now here we have an interesting neighborhood. We have the Barrio Chi West. It's a white gang that was formed in 1958 in the west town of Ukraine Village, because this gang is a Ukrainian gang. Yes, you heard right. You know, the neighborhood is mostly Ukrainians, you know, and they're located right there in Ukraine Village, in the section of West Town. Now their colors are dark blue and light blue. Now their symbol is a skunk with a machine gun. Interesting, you know, symbol. Now in the Ukraine Village neighborhood, the gang refers to itself as Chi West. Now, the reason it refers to itself as Chi West is because of the intersections and where the neighborhood's at. It's on Chicago Avenue and Western, so Chi West. And that's how they pretty much break it down. Now, there were Ukrainian greaser gang, sons of immigrants, that migrated over here. They became racist, and it kind of gets confusing because that doesn't make any sense because you're picking on immigrants when your family, are immigrants. But I guess due to the color of the skin, I guess they thought they had more of privilege. You know what I mean? Now, the West was formed because there was a time period where Puerto Ricans migrated and arrived right there to the neighborhood of Wickers Park, in East Village. The entire community of Ukraine Village did not want the Puerto Ricans, obviously, to move right there. But they set up shop there, and so this neighborhood decided to take matters into its own hand. And that's when the Chi West gang was formed, which Chi West is actually one of these more larger neighborhoods that you do hear about. That was known as the Ukrainian Mafia. And like I said, man, they do have numbers and they do handle business because they made the news several times and gave law enforcement a hard time. And, there's even some articles right here and stuff like that. So this neighborhood, does do its thing. Like I said, don't think just because they're white gangs that they're not about their business. You know what I mean? Like, they were greasers that didn't want to be told what to do. They were troublemakers and they would just handle business. And that's pretty much just the way it goes. But that's what's up with the Chi West right here, representing for theirs and continue to put theirs on the map. Now, here's an interesting neighborhood. You know what I mean? It's a little bit different gang. You have the C-Nodes gang, which is an Italian gang that was formed right here in the 1950s in the West Town, Southwest, which is known as the Patch, where there's a whole lot of gang shit going down because there's a lot of gangs in this neighborhood. They're on the Ohio and Leavitt. I think that's how you say it. Intersection is the home base, hometown for them, where it goes down. They are Folk Nation, and their color is black and green, or the Italian flag, you know what I mean? And their symbol is the money sign and a money bag, because these guys are about their paper, homie. They're about the grind, about getting it in. They hustlers, players, money makers. That's pretty much how, they carry themselves and what they about. But they are one of these white neighborhoods that doesn't like, Hispanics, and they do tend to roll with the gaylords and all of them, they, roll together. Because C-Notes, even though it's very influential, very organized, and very tied into the streets, it's not as large as some of these other sets and stuff like that. And they more, like I said, about their paper. But don't ever get it twisted. If they had to get their hands dirty, they will get it dirty and they will get it on and cracking. That's pretty much how the C-Note neighborhood works. They don't let just anybody try to come and set up shop right there. I mean, that's their grounds, and that's how they hold it down. But that's what's up with the C-Note right there. Continue to represent and hold it down for theirs. Now here we have the Insane Deuces gang. Now the Insane Deuces were founded in the 1970s, but actually have ties going earlier than that. I'll explain that in a bit. Now they were formed in the founded and formed right there in the north center of Lincoln Park. In the border of Loughborough Public Housing Projects is their neighborhood, their home base, their stomping grounds, pretty much where it all goes down. You know what I mean? And they are People Nation. That's what they roll with. Their colors are black and green, and this gang is mixed, meaning black, Latinos, white, anybody. As long as you're down with the cause, then you're down. To be a member. Their symbols are obviously, the Roman number 2 and the 2 dots, the playing cards, and the 2 of spades. Deuces run wild. You know what I mean? So the playing card of the 2 spades is pretty much, how you see it up in their symbol, and and their apparel and all of that. You know what I mean? The graffiti tattoos and all of that. Now, the Insane Deuces were spawned off of the Morgan Deuces gang, which operated in the Pilsen neighborhood along Morgan Street. The Morgan Deuces date all the way to the 1950s, so that's why I said that they have ties, going back, longer than that. They were founded between 16th and 18th on Morgan and Pilsen. Now, that's when a Morgan Deuce member, near the West Side neighborhood, named Little Rich. Moved to 18, and right there he pretty much moved to the housing projects. Met up with other young youth kids that were right there, and pretty much convinced them to joining the gang, and and all that, and that's when they became known as the Insane Deuces. Being like off spawning gang from the original Deuces. And ever since then, man, they've been running muck and running loose and running wild, homie. You know what I mean? They are a notorious gang. Give law enforcement and everybody a hard time, and yeah, they're pretty deep, man. Like I said, homie, and they handle business, homie. These guys is no chumps, homie. They will get it on and crack it, and that's pretty much how it be going down with them Insane Deuces. Still representing for theirs right there.